There we go. I was enjoying the music too, which is probably 21st century music. Don't know why I enjoy that. It's normally crap. I mean, not so good. Not my style, should I put it that way. Heidi, ho, everyone. Welcome aboard. It is Thursday already. I feel like I've only just got back to work because we have just got back to work. That's probably why. Day number 2 of September, day number 2 of spring here in Australia. My goodness, I'm sunburnt. I've been out in the nursery all day and just come inside and boy, a bit too much sun. Can't have too much sun, they say. Really? I should be chock full of vitamin D, but I'm thirsty as a result, which means I'll probably have a beer after the show. Strong chance. Maybe even a wine or two. Should I talk trading instead of all this BS that I'm going on with? Perhaps I should. Hello, everyone. Mind Paul P. How you doing? Hi, SF. Hope you're all well. And it's Thursday, as I said. Joined very shortly by Ash, and we'll be going through the usual stuff that we do. Hope you guys are trading well, and I hope that you are maintaining the rage as far as Lloyd's results are concerned. Man, he must have had a marvellous month, and I hope you guys benefited from that. Glad that he and Alexis could do the job that they did for us. Now, I haven't settled back into pound breakouts yet, and I'm not going to do that today either because I need a little bit of time to get back into that sort of thing, and I haven't got my chart set up for that. So maybe next week we'll start that again, back to the old new system, if you like. What's happening? Let me share some charts with you and try and deconfuse. Is that a word? It is now, because I just made it a word. Deconfuse. Why not? The situation with CAD Swiss that I'm sure I put some of you in this morning, and we'll start there, CAD Swiss. Okay, so we got tipped into the long yesterday, which was a buy order on the 4-hour chart or the daily chart. Can't remember. Looks like it might have been the daily chart. Yes. So we were trading that inside bar based on game changer bar, inside bar. You'll hear me say game changer bar, by the way, guys. These days I've changed my key reversal bars because I've heard other people calling them key reversal bars, and I like to be a bit different, as you know. So I'm going to call them game changer bars. And game changer bars, just for those who aren't aware, are indeed key reversal bars, which is the conventional wisdom way of saying it, if that's a thing as well. What they are is bars who, in this case, have a low lower than the previous bar and close on or near their high. If that's the case, you'll be looking to trade that in the direction of that bar. Now, if it happens to be the other way, so the high is higher than the previous day and it closes on or near its low, as that one did, then you'd be looking to trade it in the opposite direction. Now, don't be trapped into this. This is not like everything else in trading or chart trading in particular. This is just a layer. It's not a panacea. It's not a silver bullet by any stretch of the imagination. It is just another guide. And trading that in isolation is folly, in my humble opinion. That said, we had quite a few reasons to be looking to trade this long, one being that it's a pretty clear false break of this support trade line, probably also the horizontal level. And coupled with that, we got a bounce off the weekly pivot, which is exactly what we were looking for. If you were listening to my analysis on Sunday, that's exactly what we were looking for. Limit entry order there would have been absolutely perfect. And you would have, of course, been safe in the market, maybe taken out with the next bar at break even. So maybe we've actually ticked the right box here. Maybe we haven't. Anyway, yesterday we got a shocker. Again, another game changer bar whose high was higher than the previous day, closed on or near its low. Since then, we've had a little bit of a rally off the monthly pivot. Now, what I did this morning was to put a sell order in below the monthly pivot. And really all that was is a harm minimization technique, really. All I was looking to do was take this portion between the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot out of my loss calculations had the market, and it may well still, had the market gone against us below the monthly pivot, because I think that would be indeed a game changer, as is the bar. So we've actually had game changer here, game changer there, game changer there. It's all happening. What that really means at the end of the day is that CAD Swissy is in consolidation. But the case for my long still remains. We still have a clear false break of that trade line. We have a clear bounce off the weekly pivot, and perhaps we're going to have a nice clear bounce off the monthly pivot. If we get back into profit, obviously we will look for a TP1. If we get a TP1, we'll close the order for the short. Now, I don't think I need to go any further with that, but if you have any questions around that, then please feel free to ask. What it really is trying to achieve is it's accepting a loss at this level. I'm not trying to make money out of that. I'm just trying to not lose half of my stake, really, at the end of the day, which is what that's designed to do. I'm resigned at this point to losing money. So if it goes to the stop loss on the buy, close the order. If it goes to the stop loss on the sell, close the order, both orders. And that's going to get a small loss because I've calculated it that way. Whew, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? So no matter what happens here, we're not going to lose too much. If we go below here, we're going to lose a little bit. If we go above here without being triggered, then we're still in the game. Hope that all makes sense, as I said. That is
there's a trade. There's a trade on the FTSE. Hey, buddy, there's a trade on the FTSE short. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, mate. Absolutely.
Okay.
Go
All
home.
right. Let me just get my screen in. There it is.
G'day, Lewis. How you doing, mate?
Okay.
Good to see you back. Good to see everybody's
looks all right.
smiling names in the chat box.
I'm just bringing up the correct screens here, so you guys can get in this as well. Here we go. Right. So hopefully we can share screen. And it should be that one.
Your long would have worked out well yesterday, mate.
What's that, sorry?
Your long would have worked out well yesterday.
Yeah, well, there was a long on the FTSE, which I did take and made some money out of. Now we're really sort of like looking to potentially flip positions. Actually, it might have just... Yeah, this is okay. This is all right. There is a short on the FTSE. Might be able to get it up here. So 71.47, just below that that pivot. Let's just check some of these shorter term timeframes here. This is a potential area for a short here. Little gap here. I'm actually going to take it at 71.51. Let's put that in, and we'll come back to it. Sorry to cut you off, mate, but let's put that in at 71.51. Now I'm so used to trading the futures that I've got to make sure that I calculate this correctly. I'm presuming it's 1, but I can't say for sure. Stop loss. I'm just going to put my stop loss in place just so I can figure out how much it's going to cost per pip. Okay, actually not that much. So I can go in 10 times that. Let's delete that. So I'm going to go in. I'll probably end up going in live and coming in at 10. So I'm going to go in at 71.51, mate. So just a little boost to the upside. Actually, let me just double check this and make sure, because things have just changed a little bit, which would suggest. Let me just see. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to look for that. But what I'm going to do is, rather than putting in an order, I'm going to look for the price action to make sure that it gives me a clear signal for downside. So I'll be looking for a reversal bar, but I'm looking for a reversal bar around about 71.51, probably on the 5 initially, but I might let it go to the 15 depending on how the chart looks. It's just started to just change the terrain a shade. That looks about right there. So yeah, doing the analysis here, it's somewhere in this area. It might be 47, but I'd like to see. I don't think this is in play. I'd like to see a reversal bar here. So I'll call that out, mate. You know, it might be that it comes down, touches it, and gives us a reversal bar down here. Weekly pivot is problematic, so we've got to make sure we're at least 10 away from that. 15, yeah, that'd be okay. So anywhere sort of like between 71.41 and 71.30 is absolutely fine. But I quite like the shorts. Now looking through, what we can see is the monthly chart, and you can see that there's quite a lot of pin bars up here. You know, it's struggling to break out. And it might be that we're about to get that retracement that we've probably been waiting for a few months now. If we look at the weekly, kind of a similar message, in as much that it's just not able to kind of get through these highs here. So yesterday ended up okay. When we look at the dailies, yesterday ended up okay, but still weakness. You know, every time it pops up, there's just that little bit of weakness, and now we've got this inside bar gap to the downside. So I think that there may well be some weakness there, mate. The picture's changed a little bit, so I think we're going to need a bit more information, and it might be that this isn't the best time of day. So hold fire on it initially, and let's see if we can get our reversal bar. This might be enough. That might be enough, but we'll see. Did it touch 47? It hasn't touched the 47. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until it at least touches that. I'm not gonna trade a 5-minute reversal bar here. Coming under that level may be okay, but the picture's not. It's not extreme enough for us to just get in short here. We're gonna need to get a bit more information. So hold fire. Sorry, mate. That was maybe a little bit premature.
No problem at all, mate. I think it's always a good idea to double check before. It's like the carpenter's rule, isn't it?
Like what? Sorry.
It's like the carpenter's rule. You've never been a carpenter, right?
Oh no, but my mate always does say, yeah, measure twice, do the job once.
That's it. That's the one. That's the carpenter's rule. Exactly.
Yeah.
And like the amount of times I've tried to join a piece of wood together because I've cut it too short, makes me really, really resonate with that saying.
Yeah,
and exactly the same applies here. Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah. I think that might be the case here, actually. And looking at the second measurement, it doesn't look quite as. I'm not quite as keen on this, if I'm honest. It's touched it now, so you know we'll see whether there's an opportunity here in the next few minutes. We can see that the 5 is probably, well, if it ends up down the bottom here, probably below that 37 level, then that would be okay. And I probably would trade under the bar, but it's only got 10 seconds to give us a reversal. And I don't think it's going to do that. So we're looking for at least another 5 minutes, and that would get us onto the 15, which would bring us down there, actually. If it came down now in the next 5 minutes, that would be pretty strong, I think. So we'll see what gives, mate. But yeah, quite like the shorts at this stage.
If it got through that line and retested it, would you switch?
Yeah, probably would. Yeah, I probably would. Yeah, I probably would, but I'd want to see a bit more detail. I've got a bit of an issue about the stock market at the minute, if I'm honest. I think that there's a change afoot, and I guess that's put me on the way of the short. What might be better is, because I've got a little bit more of a bias to the downside, is I might well pass on it altogether.
Right.
And if it does go above there, then I might well look for the short up here instead. I just got a sneaky suspicion that there's a bit of a flush out coming. Just a little bit of nervousness, I think, in the overall market, which we'll come to later. We'll analyze it a little bit more later on, but I'm not sure. I might just pass on it altogether. I don't feel as good about this now. I've got to say, it was looking good initially, but the price action did not do what I wanted it to do, and now I'm going to have to recalibrate and recalculate and see what the best course of action is.
They look to be keen at the moment, to be fair.
It does, yeah.
Anyways, all good. And to answer your question, Lewis, no, it's not summer yet. It's actually spring, and spring in Australia is one of those weird and wonderful occurrences where, and today was a perfect example. This morning it was 2 degrees C, and this afternoon it was 27 degrees C. So that gives you an indication as to what spring does here in Australia. Tomorrow, it's pissing pick handles with, I think, around about 14 degrees, and it'll be 13 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. So SH1TTY weekend, and perhaps we'll get 25 degrees next week again. So there you go. There's my weather report, and it'll probably be just as accurate as any other punter that has a crack as well. Righto. So, mate, I'll do a couple of things, and if that changes, then we'll come back to
yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Short is definitely off.
Happy days. Righto. I'll go back, and I'm not going to explain CAD Swissy again because. G'day, John. By the way, did I say g'day, John? Mate, are we having a quiz today? It's Thursday. I'm not sure if you're prepared for one or not. Oh, awesome. Quiz day. Look forward to quiz days because I get to celebrate or commiserate with myself with a beer and wine later on. That's always a good idea. Okay, so CAD Swiss, guys, you've got the picture. If we get into TP1, then we cancel the short and we'll take it from there. The good news, AusCAD. Now, I wanted to have a good look at Aussie CAD because I don't want this to come back on me. And I think we've gone through sufficient resistance to be able to rely on that resistance as support. And I'm talking about this horizontal level here, which is about 92.67-ish. I've got it. It's pretty much bang on today's daily pivot. And I'm inclined to move my stop loss, which is now in a safe place in terms of the trade, up to just below that level. So just under what would be WR1 by the look of it. In fact, I'm not tempted to, I'm going to do that. That will lock in another 70 odd pips of profit. So I think that's a wise thing to do. I think we'll get a pullback, maybe off this trade line. But I'm hoping that confluence of daily, it's not really a confluence, I suppose it's the same levels, daily pivot and the horizontal level. So if we do get that and a bounce, then happy days. We can probably take some more profit at that point. But I am going to move my stop loss. I'm going to give you the level. It is pretty much bang on this low. We're going to call it 92.53. So that's where my stops are going, to 92.53, which would be what, plus 45 pips, which means you've got to put minus 45 in there, I think, from memory. Oh, there we go. Modify, and there we go. The stop has moved up to there. Happy days. I'm going to continue to use the trade manager guys, because too many times I have not placed the order on the trade manager and gone off somewhere and blah, 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 blah. You don't need to know the rest. It's not a pretty picture. So that's Aussie CAD. Now today, I didn't do anything else, but there were a few things to look at. CAD Swiss, of course, was one, and we did place that short in. The others 3, 4, there were CAD Yen, which I don't have on here. Where's CAD Yen? CAD Yen. Now, this was an excellent alternative, if you like, in terms of a setup to play the hedge card on the CAD Swiss trade, which we're trading long. But it turns out that that may not be the case. I didn't take this trade, by the way. I took it on CAD Swiss, as I said, because primarily I thought the reward to risk here wasn't that great, and it's a lot easier to maintain watch on CAD Swiss on both the long and short. It looks like you would have been triggered into that had you chosen to take that, and that may well work out yet, of course. We've got a magnet underneath us, weekly pivot, monthly pivot, and we've got, of course, that game changer bar. So if you so chose and you still like that scenario, you could still put an entry either underneath that bar or even underneath that bar. You've got to take profit, however, before these pivots, and that's kind of a bit of a clincher for me as to why I wouldn't take it underneath that bar there. But the setup is there. If you wanted to take it, happy days. Did want to know what happened with OPEC meetings, and OPEC meetings are generally things that will shake the cat up a bit. Hear anything, Ash, from OPEC?
Yeah, but I don't think they play ball, as far as I'm aware. I did look at that picture a little bit, and it doesn't appear that the news was great for oil, but and oil did retrace off the back of it, but it seems to recover, doesn't it? Yeah, it's okay at the minute, oil. Inventories in the States as well came in, I think, higher than expected. So there was a few things actually that I thought with the picture with oil was, I'm surprised to see that there is a move to the upside. I think the idea with OPEC is that they're leaving things on their current path, so they're not cutting production, and I think that's what people were after, is an announcement that the production would be cut. So no real positive development for oil traders. Maybe it's not negative enough. Maybe that was priced in, possibly after we've seen a little bit of a move to the downside. It wouldn't encourage me to go long on oil, that's for sure. I'd probably be more interested in the short if it was on. But it's fairly robust right now. The way oil's looking, it looks okay, doesn't it? It looks like it's moving higher, certainly off so far this morning. I don't know whether you were looking for downside anyway, weren't you, mate?
I was looking for here, yeah.
I see the message to me, yeah, Lewis is short, and the message to me would be for a short, but maybe without that price action changing yet. I don't think we can get into it, but I think if price action changes, I think there's every reason that we could start to see oil sell off a little bit. A lot of the moves down would seem to be more to do with COVID and this Delta variant that seems to be problematic for the globe right now. Cleared up a little bit, and I guess now we're just kind of looking at what OPEC are doing. Obviously, wasn't significant enough what happened, from the speech to drive us lower as yet. But we're right on top of support here. We're right on top of resistance. If you go to an hourly chart, then there is some resistance here. I'm just going to check whether there are pivots here as well. Oh yeah, I don't know what you've got in the way of pivots, but it looks like we're above monthly pivots, and I wouldn't want to get involved in that until we were below. Probably the low point of that hourly, the second, if you were to draw the trend line, a break very, very, very steep. Yeah, there's the dailies, but the monthly is very, very close to that. So below the monthly pivot, I think that's where you want to go. I wouldn't be interested in the long. I don't think they're there. So it looks like that that tip to the downside from the previous low, really. So we make a lower low here on the hourly, and that'll take out that monthly pivot. Then that seems to be a sensible point to start looking for the short. Here looks a bit dangerous.
Yeah, interesting there yesterday, that interaction with the pivots and that confluence of, well, it's not accurate there, but I just put that in as a bit of fun, really. Maybe that trend line up there, that makes more sense. Yeah, it wasn't clear cut. It would have been hard to survive, actually, if you traded that bar. Maybe on a different time frame, don't know. Yeah, look, I see that blue triangle still, or blue rectangle still as a potential, and I think I'd probably be starting to look to buy in that area. Maybe that, as you say, Lewis, maybe that's a bit lower. Maybe it needs to come down to here.
Yeah, it could be that, couldn't it?
That might be the sweet spot.
I mean, it might, and the sweet spot for the short might even be that trend line coming from above.
This one,
you know, yeah, it's possible. Maybe it pushes up there sometime next week. That would get it fairly close. Oh yeah, you could go with that as well. I was thinking the one that you've already got drawn.
Yeah, it looks better. Anyway, the reason I asked is because of the CAD, no other reason. But there seems to be a bit going on there, which is why that bit's bounced off there. Yeah, I think this could go to him. And I suppose that works in favour of the AusCAD long and the CAD Swiss short. So anyway, we'll see how that pans out. The thing that I really wanted to have a strong look at is euro dollar.
Yeah, I like the euro dollar. I think there's a case to be made with the euro dollar for a long. I don't know what you're about to tell us about direction, but
yeah, it's really interesting. I'm of two minds, but the bigger picture is telling me that the US dollar can rally. Gee whiz, I don't know how I can say that, but it is telling me that. Let me try and clean this up for you a little bit, and I'll show you why I think that's the case.
Yeah, be interested to your point of view, mate. So I've got the complete opposite view on that.
Well, I've got every reason to think that this can go long at the moment. I don't have a problem with that. Let me show you the bigger picture, I suppose, and what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the false break, and have for a long time. Let me get rid of these lines. Oh no, that one's pertinent. It seems to be caught in a bit of a vortex to the high side euro dollar at the moment. So you've got to be forgiven for thinking this doji bar should have given us either a reversal or a continuation. Gave us neither, frankly. It started to go south, and it looked like that false break may well have played out. But then we've got a big reversal bar off that level. Pardon me. It's also a bit of a horizontal level through here. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. Strong support here, resistance here, support here, resistance here.
Yeah.
So that level to me, which is why really where this has bounced off, is key. And when I go a little bit clearer on this, I see a failed false break that has given me a game changer bar almost. It's not a game changer bar because it really hasn't closed on its high, but it's not that far off it. This level here is a bit of a haunting level. It's 118.95, so let's call it 119. But I really see this as a buy right here. I also see that we've gone into a pretty big range. So if we put that there as well, it's early days for this range, but I can really only think long looking at that chart, and that disturbs me because on the dollar index, which I'll show you now,
Mm. That's the
I'm
one I've
seeing
been
something.
following.
I'm seeing something completely, well, not completely different, but it is different. I'll bring it up. So all I'm seeing is long on, which chart am I on? This one. Is that the dollar index? Should be.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm seeing on this chart is, again, a false break. Very clear false break of that trade line and tradable.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful response. Enter there, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And the level it's gone to, hang on a sec, I've got all sorts of things covering what I need to see here.
Yeah, I've got exactly the same lower line on that. Inverted head and shoulders, W bottom pattern as well. So there's a few technical reasons to look for that dollar, and we'll talk about the potential fundamental driver of the dollar in a moment, because it's going to be tomorrow, and I think that everybody needs to be on their metal for tomorrow. And actually,
yes.
we'll talk about some of the numbers that have passed and that are coming, and we'll get an assumption on this.
Right, so here's what I'm seeing. Right, I'm seeing the double bottom, or the inverted head and shoulders, if you like. It's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
But I see this as the neckline.
Right.
And to my mind, the neckline has been broken and retested.
Yeah.
This week's bar is crucial to what happens next. Absolutely crucial.
Agreed.
Because if this fails to go short, then this is going long, in my humble opinion. And it's going long to probably there in the first instance, which really gives me, what have I got, 120 versus, it gives me 1-to-1 to there. And if this is to truly reverse, which I don't believe it will, right? I only see that as the trade. I don't see anything beyond there, frankly.
I mean, the other thing is, mate, I mean, would you also say that that level that you've done to aim for may well actually be the neckline? That might be the neckline that we're aiming for, because of what?
Sure it could, but I wouldn't want to be trading beyond that until it's broken. That's for sure.
Yeah.
To me,
so
you go.
I've got the same lower level as you have. And yes, Lewis is right. So if we think about what's happened recently, we had ADP yesterday, which was pretty negative. And we also had ISM, which came out pretty positive. So we had sort of, one thing saying the economy is doing very well. The other thing kind of saying, well, the Fed have kind of come out and said that they're not going to be taper. Well, the taper question, and certainly the interest rate hike, is not going to happen until employment picks up. And the employment numbers were pretty poor, and we saw the dollar come down off the back of that. But then ISM came out and they were positive. So because the ISM was back in kind of growth phase, then what needs to happen when you're in growth? Well, you need to increase the jobs. So then you're kind of looking down the road a little bit and saying, well, those jobs numbers should improve if we continue to be in growth. Now, tomorrow we've got the service sector PMIs, which are really, really important, more important than the manufacturing. They hire a lot more people. So that's a significant number to be released. And we have average earnings and non-farm. So we have employment numbers. We have average earnings numbers as well. Our companies, and what I like to look for is with average earnings is not only is the worker able to absorb a rate hike because their wages are going up, but are wages going up relating back to businesses saying we can't get the workers, so we need to raise the interest rate, and we need to raise the earnings, because obviously if they've got enough workers, they don't need to do that. So it kind of sends us two messages, and the messages in some respects are a bit conflicting, because obviously if you're raising the earnings, raising the average wage, then that's suggesting there's not enough people on the payroll already. But by the same token, it also sends a message to the Fed to say, well, people are maybe able to absorb a little bit of tapering and absorb a little bit of an interest rate rise. So that one's a bit of a difficult one, but the unemployment numbers are crucial, and the service sector numbers are crucial, because if the service sector says it's still in expansion or it's going to go back to expansion, we'd expect 6 to 12 months out for us to be near where the Fed wants to be. So tomorrow's numbers, I think, could drive the bar, would drive the picture of the bar that the way that we would need to see it to probably trade it on Monday. You know, it's probably not a trade right now. What I see is the dollar drifting to that lower level, maybe before the numbers are released. So like an intraday trade before the numbers are released, stopping there. Then either the numbers come out and we see the dollar tank through it, and then who knows where it goes, maybe right back to the lows, or we see that turn around, we get some sort of reversal bar, and then we're looking for a few months of dollar upside.
Yeah, look, I can't disagree with anything you've said. The one thing that I can say is you've just confirmed for me that it's a very, very tricky position to take right now, because the fundamentals are confused, the technicals are confused, and I think could go either way. It's a flip of a coin, basically.
Yeah. Do you know the other thing, mate, is that yesterday's numbers from Europe were also positive. And there are calls from the ECB saying that inflation is becoming a bit problematic. So they're almost edging towards something as well. Now, the money supply from the United States hasn't been shrinking, whereas you see the pound and it's not been, you see the UK and it's not been quite as extreme. So the US has got a lot of work to do to kind of rebalance things. In the inflation rates are north of 5%. Europe and the United Kingdom are closer to 2 to 3%. So they've got a massive question about what to do next. Huge. And I'm still of the view that the dollar is a breaking point. We've managed to kind of almost stop talking about it recently because we came out of COVID. So that's almost like, the mood music has changed somewhat since we haven't come out of COVID. The news and the reporting on COVID is a lot more positive, even though we're still getting lockdowns. Since the vaccine got released, the media seem to be much more focused on that than they do the amount of people that are either dying or contracting COVID. So economies potentially shutting down in the Western world are not being reported on. And is it possible that we are just waiting for the perfect storm? We got environmental issues, we got COVID-19, we got this excessive amount of cash in the system. We've got a lack of drivers over here, a lack of delivery drivers over here. Food prices are going up. CPIs are starting to climb. There's lots of things that are all saying, be very, very careful in this market if you are going for risk on, which is, I suppose, one of the reasons that I'm quite keen on the short on the FTSE. I'm looking at this on a longer term basis. I'm looking at gold as the potential protection and saying, well, gold also rallies during August and September. Now, the August rally didn't really come. It was about flat in the end on the month. But September could start to explode to the upside. The VIX hasn't yet picked up. So not all the indicators are saying the same thing, which we're why we're in this kind of slight crossfire. But I'm really nervous about the long, and I'm really nervous about what's going to happen with the dollar. I'm nervous that they may not have the tools to be able to raise interest rates safely, which they have to do, because if prices are going higher because there's not enough supply, what do they need to do? Change the supply of money, so that becomes a product which can have some inflation and then rebalance the books. Very, very dangerous, mate, in this current climate to do that. So difficult. It's difficult. Tomorrow we'll add another piece to the jigsaw, but I wonder whether speculators are looking very, very short term at this particular stage, and actually in the longer term, we should be all out short stocks and short dollar, I don't know, for maybe 5 years to come or something.
Yeah, look, maybe I'm just inclined to go against my better judgment and take advantage of that dollar index.
Yeah,
and trade it long above that seller bar.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know what screen we're on. Are we still on this dollar index screen?
Yeah, you're on this dollar index. Yeah, on the is that the day or the weeklies? Yeah, so you're looking to go long above that weekly bear bar.
Yeah, look, I think if this fails to get through that level, then the only logical next move to me is to here.
Yeah, I concur with that.
So it's just a matter of, what happens next. And we don't know.
No.
We clearly don't know. Here's, I'll go back to the euro dollar and then, it's nearly quiz time.
It is.
Unless anybody wants us to have a look at something else, that's fine. So back to the euro, and I'll give you my thing for today anyway. What's a thing? A thing is an untested daily pivot. Now, here's the thing with untested daily pivots on the euro, and I won't go through this exercise because I haven't prepared myself to do it. But here's what I was talking about before. The only thing I can see for the euro dollar right now, short term, is long. I cannot see a short for euro dollar. That said, that's a weekly chart I'm looking at. Go to the daily chart, and I can see resistance in 2, maybe even 3 fields. This trade line, this trend line, and there's also a horizontal level running through there. It's not that clear, but it's pretty clear over here. So for the very, very short term, I'm probably looking for a 30-minute trade back to the daily pivot, which is untested, as I said. I believe we'll probably get a test of this level here, and that's going to make things a little bit easier / harder. And but it makes it easy if we get back underneath that level, even underneath that level. So the breakout bar here looks, for all intents and purposes, is going to break through there, right? Strong as. But I would suggest to you that where would that level be? There's DR1 there. So maybe we even take out the highs and get up to here. If that's the case, there's going to be buyers jumping in. And I don't know where the next level of resistance is going to be. So that's going to be the tough part. The easy part, well, there is the next level of resistance. It's at 118.95, as I said before. So we know that. The easy part is if that doesn't happen and it comes back below those trade lines, and on a 30-minute chart, it'll look like this. That one I just put in. So maybe hit there, back underneath here, retest that level, which would even bring it back into this range here, intraday range. Then I'll be jumping all over that, trading it back to the daily pivot. Just that single trade, no take profit. Well, there would be take profit, sorry, here. It'd just be that, straight back to the daily pivot. That's all, because then I'll be looking for longs at that point. So that's what I see on the euro today. Yesterday, we spoke about the long on the euro. Worked out pretty much as we expected that it might. Did you get into it is the question, and could you have got into it is the other question. We were talking about DR1, I think was about here, DR1 yesterday. There's the way in, but very, very difficult to see, and it's not a genuine trade line. Oh, that's today, sorry. You can't do it today. It's got to be yesterday. Let's go to yesterday, where we're looking for DR1, which is up here, as I said. Getting into it was the problem. You had to have traded a break and retest of the daily pivot if you were to get into that. And there's a lovely little slingshot candle pattern, but it's too early. There's your trade line there. What could you have traded? That bar there, yes, because it's a dominant break of a trade line, 1/3 of the candle above. So you could have got in there, wouldn't have given you much profit, but that was the way to go. And it settled down pretty much bang on that level now. It got above it, back into it. So today we're doing the reverse. We're going back to here, but it's a single trade down to that level only. Don't want to see it any further than that. And as I say, then I'll be looking for longs. Righto, so that is the euro outlook for today for me on the 30-minute charts. And if it sets up, I'll be taking that trade short to the daily pivot. That's for sure. John, Good to have you on board as always. And how you doing, buddy? How was the mint? How was the month that's just gone? Anita, can you give John some powers, please? Some talking. There he is. I can hear him.
It was host disabled participant screen sharing. I'll wait for that a minute.
What?
Well, somebody said, is it on now? Shit. Have they done it now?
Yeah, you're on, mate. You're on.
You're on. You're just a little bit low.
Participant screen sharing. Yes, Lewis. I've been ill.
Oh no.
Through my I'm still. It's still pretty bad as well.
Oh mate, what you got?
I kid you not. I popped my shoulder taking my t-shirt off.
No.
I've
okay.
I've played.
Do we want to know more? Why were you taking your t-shirt off?
In an angry mood, I had to go out to do something. Got soaking wet. Came back. I was fighting with the t-shirt off, and that's the range that way. That's it.
Wow.
So that's it. There's no range. So it's just like loads of painkillers.
Wow.
And then,
is it Jemison? Is it called Jemison? Those painkillers?
I have Korean rice wine. I think it's very, very similar.
That'll do.
But yeah, that's which means as a musician, holding the instrument is just like So it took a nosedive. So I've had 2 weeks of doing not a lot, and
plenty of time to trade.
That's been okay. It's been this, but August in general for me it's not been good, and it probably isn't the best place to discuss it because it's quite in general. It's quite it's not good. I've done it still says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
Anita, can you sort that for us, please?
Yeah, but other than that, it's been what it is, really.
It is what it is, mate. Yeah. John, go see Chinese TikTok. TikTok.
Yeah, maybe. I've got a. There's a good physiotherapist here for me that I've seen before. So I'll pop and see him tomorrow.
Got a drive thing right now, right?
Dare I ask what TikTok is?
I think that's.
Is that like acupuncture?
It could be.
No, it's actually more similar to Western chiropractic.
Oh, Lloyd!
He's Lloyd.
But it's not. Yeah, the guy I see from South Africa, he is a sports medicine, so I'll rumble with that. He sorted out one of my knees before when I first came. Oh, brilliant!
Jolly. Rice wine and that'll sort it. Magic mushrooms as well. That'll work.
Lloyd, yes, I need to have a chat with you at some point about trading buddies, and so I'll send you a message at some point later.
Right. No, I'll refuse to be a buddy.
You ignore me. Be ready to ignore me.
Hey, nice one on Aussie Kiwi. Oh, sweet. You asked us about Aussie Kiwi. You got the right man in the box. Remind me to talk about Aussie Kiwi when the quiz is finished, please.
Okay.
Forgot to go there. Sorry, sweet. We'll give you an opinion for sure.
Is that can everybody see that? Right? Yeah. Can people see?
Yeah, we can see, mate.
Yeah, we can see, mate.
Okay, bang. Yeah. Okay, here's the first. This is just my idea only. This is yeah.
Okay. What sort of quiz is this?
Okay.
I can't see anybody's faces now. So obviously I've had a complete and utter participants I can see.
I'm gonna have to put that.
Anyway, yeah, which major currency might be in for a tricky ride? That's the obvious.
This is a cryptic clue, right?
It is. It depends on if you. That's interesting as well. you guys are pretty close. Yeah, Gary's pretty close as well.
So that means it's the CAD.
Yeah, and the reason.
Looney.
Oh,
Looney.
okay.
Got it.
Do you know what? Actually, mate, the Euro's got the same issue because there's some elections going on over there too. So, yeah,
There's apparently killer storms in New York right now. They
Yeah.
Yes,
declared
there
a
are.
state of emergency. Yeah.
yeah, there are, mate. Yeah, and whenever I read stuff like that, my first thought is how does that affect the market? But there's been pretty much no consequence as yet. When you sort of like think of a country like America and a city like New York having that kind of thing, then you think it had more an effect on the market. But maybe this afternoon we see it. I don't know. But it's I think the market started in a pretty tepid fashion after the initial burst. FTSE 100. I'm still quite keen on the short. I have to say, mate. It's very, very quiet. But yeah, the killer storm story, maybe another one that needs to be watched, and which is why I mentioned the environment earlier. Actually, I was reminding of that.
Okay.
Sorry, John.
No, that's okay. It's good that you got some debate going. Okay, NFTs can seem like the Wild West. Why?
Oh, goodness me.
This is.
This is also cryptic.
It is a little bit.
What have you done to us this week, John? It's all that wine, I think.
Yeah, well, it's the only way to keep the pain under control. So
Wild West.
Yeah. This you'll like this one, Jeff. I think.
I'm sure I will. The Wild West.
This is quite a fresh story. If people.
Is this something to do with cowboys, space cowboys?
It's a little bit like that. You might have. It's to do with people being. That's so close, but you've got to be thinking more. Lewis, you've got to be thinking License to Kill. Well, somebody did have a license to kill. Buyer beware.
Oh gosh, yeah, of course, yes. I've heard about this.
This was pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, apparently the guy returned the money, didn't he?
He did. He returned
So
the money.
he ripped the guy off, and then he returned the cash. So actually, the guy gets a free fake Banksy, which is.
But it was the fact that
right.
it was the website that was hacked, and it was put up actually on the official website.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a bit.
Yeah, you have to wonder what was going on here, because you've got a few stories here where people are hacking accounts and managing to kind of get money out of people in the crypto verse, but then returning it. So you have to question why they're doing it, and it seems like just to say. Just to everybody, be careful out there, because we can do this stuff anytime we want.
We can take you to the cleaners.
Yeah.
My answer was, and it wouldn't fit in the box, John, that they'd left all the weapons in Afghanistan, so it would be like the Wild West.
Yeah, I purposely steered clear of that story because that's one of my.
Right, so that won't be the next answer.
Talking of that. Talking of that, there is the head of Cardano has been saying that the crypto space could actually help the situation in Afghanistan, and he kind of makes the point that citizens could maybe kind of use the crypto markets instead of the normal kind of monetary system to kind of almost shade some finances away from the Taliban. So cryptos might even bleed into that kind of space fairly soon as well.
Yeah, that could be quite good.
Yeah,
no, I've had too many of my friends go to that place for to do their job, so I steer clear of it. Okay, here we go. Which company is finding it hard to find the chips?
Oh, I'm going to say Toyota.
Closer to home, and not obviously not the edible sort. Toyota, no. Tesla, no. Well, I think they all are, but this one.
I'm not sure what you've done to us this week, John. No question so far has had one answer. We could have gone with loads of.
Everybody's in the groove. I thought that one of you two guys might actually get this.
Right.
The reason,
okay.
Must be the dislocated arm. Yeah, maybe. The reason that this particular one. My brother works for Vauxhall.
Ah, okay.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I had the V, right?
But
well,
Toyota are actually struggling. They're cutting production because they can't get what they need.
yeah, my brother, he's obviously he's a mechanic, but he was one of the changeover from moving to electronic systems on cars. So he'd bring it up that.
I like the graphics here, John. You spent a bit of time on this.
Yes, yeah. If this is a bit of a, I don't know, just the way I work. If I'm doing something new like this, I thought, right, okay, how can I learn to use the program? Because I've never used presentation software before. Never had to.
Twofer. I like the twofers.
Used a blackboard. Oh, okay.
Has anybody got a point yet?
I don't think so. Sorry.
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Ah, we know this one.
Okay, which famous football player broke the men's world record for scoring?
You mean on the soccer field, John?
Yes, for allegedly. Yes, on the soccer field for all those who are not from the motherland. Messi.
Is this the bloke who's just gone back home?
He's definitely going back home.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a Wolves supporter, so I wish he'd stayed away.
Oh, I'm sending all these to Lewis.
Yeah.
That's why
Lewis,
he's doing so badly.
Lewis just put the answer in.
But it's slightly controversial. Okay, yes, he did break the record, but maybe he should have been sent off.
Oh.
Whereas he was placing the ball for the penalty, O'Shea kicked the ball away, so Ronaldo gave the guy a slap.
Oh, I see. Oh dear.
Yeah,
that could have been a very different story.
It doesn't matter. The actual world record is owned by a lady from Canada, I believe.
He's got 110. Okay, 111. Okay.
Does she get the same pay as he does? Probably not.
No, nowhere near. I'll tell you what, it's going to be an interesting league this season with Ronaldo back in the mix, because I think Man United were probably not considered before he turned up, but you got to consider them now.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
You don't fancy Man United?
No, I think I would. What would I do? Brighton's midfield is way better than United's midfield. Way better.
Yeah. Do you have Pogba in there?
Yeah, could do. It should be easy. You should get this one. But John Cook's winning, I think. This is me putting myself on the line. I hope. Oh yes. Des Sleeves bounce back in. Ash is in.
I'm in for the first time, but I've answered everything correctly. To someone else.
I thought I'd put one in where I felt, oh, I better get this right, just in case. Question 6.
Oh.
And obviously I've replaced my morning brew. You can all tell by what I've been. Yeah.
Oh, what's happened here? Shortage, maybe?
One of Actions to Wealth senior traders will be very happy, I would have thought.
Oh, okay. So coffee there's a bit of a shortage of coffee.
There is.
Coffee prices up. Okay.
I'm with you, Paul P. I'm not sure why I would change from beer for breakfast.
Obviously in the same band.
I'll tell you what.
So
yeah, do you know what? Ever since we talk about crypto space and all this kind of thing, but pretty much since the start of this year, coffee price has almost doubled. I mean, it's astonishing, really, what's happened to the price of coffee. If you went back to last year, around about in a 12-month period, it has actually doubled in price. So
So hopefully he's
Sorry, 24 month. No, 12 month. Yeah, 12-month period. It's double in price. That's amazing.
I'm Biden. Oh yes, I see what you mean. Yeah, he's not my favorite cup of tea either. If you're gonna,
I got no idea.
this if you're in Singapore or around here, this is to do with the Olympics, the Paralympics.
Nothing.
No.
Oh, hang on. I did hear something this morning.
I did have a bit of a chuckle, but at it in a way. Bang! This guy's medal got taken away from him because he was 3 minutes late in getting to the event.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so they let him compete and get the gold medal, then they took it off him.
Yeah, and then they said you were late, so we're taking it. Yes, it is bad. This is what was pointed out. He was late, so therefore they shouldn't have allowed him to do it.
Absolutely, you can't do that.
Yeah, so that's the controversial.
Oh, that is harsh. Yeah. That is really harsh. So he was late. He was late signing in for the tournament. You know what I mean? Yeah. So basically, they've made the mistake. I mean, he made the first mistake, obviously, but they've ultimately made the mistake and punished him for it.
Yeah. Yes.
I think that's quite cold. I think,
horrible.
The other athletes surely would say, he late or not, he was still the best.
He had gastric, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's just not a good one. This is the music question. Who will still not let go of the money?
Ooh,
this has been going on for quite a while, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Scrooge. John Lydon. Yeah, he's. Yes, I agree with that one. But I didn't think of that one. This one This is a wrong one.
So that's it's a right answer, but the wrong one.
No, yeah, I think he's busily suing somebody at the minute for using some tracks.
He's busily suing his own band members.
Living up to his title. Father Spears.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he's been told to let go, but still will not do it.
No.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry, everybody.
No, that's good, mate. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's lateral thinking. I like it.
Yeah, there's actually sort of quite a lot of crossover stories this week in some of these, but that was a good one, mate. That was a good fun quiz, and I'm liking the new graphics. Where you see the actual reports as well. That's quite cool. Yeah,
I thought it was good to get a bit more, I don't know, context into what I look at. I'm not quite sure what everybody does. I mean, that's what I've followed the last 48 hours, which ties into what you guys were thinking about, is that they're moving away from pandemic to everybody's going to get it, and if you get your vaccines, won't get it so bad. There was a report came out from the UK head of medical advisory for the pandemic response, and they think it's going to be endemic. That's it.
Yeah.
New South Wales has done the same. Victoria's done the same. They've now admitted defeat.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, isn't it? They're saying that double vax is 50% less chance of getting long COVID. And
it's just behind. How stupid is that? It was just behind the one that I've been using. So I've just been Zoomed. It's the first time I've been Zoomed. where you can't find the screen you want. Because I've seen you guys go through it, and I thought, what's the problem? I've just been Zoomed.
Yeah, and the more screens you have, the harder it gets.
So I can't defend myself. There's only 2 screens.
Jeff, Lewis said, he sent all the answers to you. Sorry, mate, you were about to bring us into the Aussie Kiwi.
Yeah, Lewis got 100%. Awesome, mate. Well done. So did I. I sent mine to him.
Yeah.
That's why I said we need a tiebreaker. Both got 100%.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. And I hope you get well soon, eh?
Yeah. Hopefully the guy can work his magic tomorrow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lloyd, have you got 2 seconds? Because you're the man.
Oh, yep. What's up, Jeff?
So Swee asked a question earlier. Hang on, I'll see if I can whiz back to that question and read it out to you. I've got an opinion. I'm sure Ash will have one as well. I've just got to find it.
Aussie Kiwi?
Yep. Have you found it? Yeah. Guys, appreciate your thoughts on Aussie Kiwi. I'm looking to scale in long if it breaks and bounces from the pivots on a 4-hour chart.
Oh, yeah.
We pretty much spoke about that very same thing yesterday, but not at that level.
No, and what weren't you looking at the short?
On Aussie Kiwi?
Yeah.
Yesterday, no. I was going to join Lloyd, who you'd be out of that now, Lloyd, right?
No,
You hit your
I'm still in
target?
the trade.
Oh, you're still in. Haven't hit your target.
Yeah, I can share the screen. Let me show you.
Please.
Yeah, so I think yesterday I was in at this candle. Yeah, so I did recommend to take partial profit off the levels. So if I do scale in, it will be pricing to do this. Just that.
Yep. So you're agreeing with Swee 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I've got slightly different sway on it. If you could draw a trend or a trade line more than a trend line, yeah, a real slingshot one. Go down to where? I'm just trying to get a date for you. About the 25th. There's a double top there, or double. There's a, what do you call them? No, 25th. There's a train track reversal there. Yep. So that's your first high. If you bring that through the next swing high, it'll cut through the can. That's the one.
Yeah.
So I'm probably already there, Swee, but I do see the pivots as a problem. So I think there's an entry above that bar, the seller bar, and a stop loss below it. If you want to scale in, I think we're all of the same. Well, both of us are of the same opinion, but I've already got my retest. So that's my sway on it. Ash, opinion?
Yeah, I inverted head and shoulders kind of look about it, but I'm not 100% keen on that. I would look at some of the reasons that it would get through this particular point, and I wouldn't have any. The only one thing is actually, so we were looking at Aussie dollar. Yeah, I wouldn't have any major reason for the Aussie to rally hugely against the Kiwi. Yes, I like the price points, but I'm not sure whether now would be the time that I'd be looking at. But the fact that you guys are in,
I'm not.
You're not in, but you're looking for a retest anyway, aren't you? So you'd wait for the break. And if the break happened, I'd be kind of the same opinion as you because of the weekly pivot and the monthly pivot there. But if you're already in, then I think kind of scaling it would be absolutely fine. I don't really need more exposure to the Aussie against another commodity currency. I've got no exposure, but I'm Aussie CAD long. I'd rather scale into that than I would Aussie Kiwi because I'm not in that, right? Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. I think that's fair because things can change fairly drastically given the environment right now. I think that those numbers from Australia were amazing. The mining numbers were amazing, and obviously we are seeing that boost in the Aussie off the back of that. Look, the thing that drove the Aussie down, which surprised me, was the reaction to Sydney and the really bad struggle with COVID in Sydney. But as we just spoke about, they've now turned that around and said, okay, we're now at 70% first dose and we're going to ease restrictions next week and we've thrown the zero COVID out the window. Right. Now we're doing the same as everybody else. So I think that has now tempered somewhat, which then leads me to think, all right, what drove it down before, if that reverses, it pretty much should drive it back up. So yeah, I agree. So I kind of get that. Yeah.
And as you say,
Yeah.
the numbers on the Aussie are good. Look, expect that to change. The GDP figure will be SH1T next quarter. I've got no doubt about that. Sales will be crap. You know, all the numbers will be crap. But the one thing that probably this number that was printed yesterday, GDP figure, has done, it's probably prevented Australia from going into a recession. Yes, next month will be bad. So, but that's only 1 month. 1 quarter. To go into recession, you need 2 quarters of negative GDP, right?
Yes.
That's not going to happen now because the restrictions that will be eased during the current quarter, which will be SH1T, that'll be negative for sure. Won't be negative in the September quarter. The December quarter. So therefore, if all goes to plan, of course, the recession will be averted, and Australia will be once again in a pretty strong economic position.
Yeah,
that's the forecast anyway. Whether that actually happens is another thing, but that's pretty much what we're seeing.
Right. This looks interesting. What we got here, Lloyd?
No, I'm just going with my analysis. So I was just comparing the charts between gold and Aussie, because yesterday I was saying that they have a correlation going on, simply because Aussie is still a gold mining
100%.
country. Yeah. So what I'm trying to drive a story is this. So you can see that gold flat out, rallied since then. So the rally is still not happening for Aussie. Yeah. So that's my play for Aussie Kiwi, why I decided to go long. Because on a weekly basis, I would think that it's time they play the catch up.
Yeah, that's interesting, mate. Yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, I think Jeff's points about the endemic and things potentially changing back in Australia are probably very, very poignant, because I think both of us have been saying that the Aussie should be along, given the strength of the economy over there in comparison to many others. But the lockdown inevitably drove it down, and it kind of looks like that buying opportunity that we were talking about before. So. I think possibly gold moving to the upside, and gold might explode. I mean, it's a funny one, isn't it, gold? Because we've had kind of talks of potentially $10,000 and lots of kind of big numbers, but things change and policy changes. But if they don't get a handle on things, then who knows? Who knows what happens? Gold could go anywhere really from here.
Jeff, what's the vaccination rate in Australia at the moment?
Double doses, it's about 35%, something like that. Single doses, I think it's around about 47, something like that. It's a long way to go, but New South Wales today should have hit 70% single dose, and that's where the big problem is, right?
Ash, what's the vaccination rate for UK?
Do you know what? I haven't looked for a little while, but I think they're around about 70%, maybe even higher than that, 90% of. Because
the reason I'm asking is that both UK and Singapore has already abandoned the zero COVID approach. So I think Australia has not. So
they have now, mate.
Oh, they have. So because I was thinking at about 50%, Singapore abandoned our zero COVID approach. I wonder what's the percentage for UK when they did that. So Australia might. If you say Australia has already abandoned, then I would guess the economy will pick up.
Sorry, I shouldn't say Australia. I should say New South Wales and Victoria, which is pretty much Australia at the end of the day. They're the two main centres. So Tasmania still got a zero approach. Western Australia still got a zero approach. Maybe even South Australia, not 100% on that. And Northern Territory, which doesn't really count in terms of numbers. But I think you'll find that New South Wales and Victoria most definitely have gone out the window with zero. That doesn't exist anymore. And that will be the real story. New South Wales and Victoria, forget the rest.
Yeah, we got first doses here, Lloyd, at 48 million, and there's around about 65 million in the country. So, and obviously that includes children under the age of 12 or whatever. So, probably the majority of the adult population have now been given at least their first dose.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So are we good? Are we good with all that? Does that help? I think we're pretty much all the same opinion. Awesome. Okay, euro dollar. Whose charts are we on?
Nobody's.
Lloyd's. Nobody's. Okay. Then I'm going to end with this one. This is where I started on euro dollar, and pretty much where I'll end, I would think. That's actually a good bar. That one there on the 30-minute chart, but I prefer to see those on a bigger time frame. But it's kind of playing the game at the moment. So if we snuck back underneath here now and retested that level, say around about here somewhere, if we could get an entry there, that's just about perfect. Say a 10 pip risk from there takes us up to about there. Perfect. So you can put your stop up there, and your 1-to-1 to the daily pivot if you want to take that. Get safe by, probably don't need to take anything off, just move your stops to entry there if you want to take this, and then let it go to the daily pivot and close the trade. That's it. If it's any bigger than a 10 pip risk, then you probably don't want to take it because there's not enough room. But I think that's the way to go. That's me for euro dollar, mate, today. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for the short probably in the coming days, but it doesn't look like it's on today. I think that I'm seeing a very, very sleepy market. So possibly during the US session, we see a little bit more movement. I would suggest that it's probably more about tomorrow. So I'm not too interested in initiating anything new today, mate. I'll be sitting and waiting, I think, rather than getting involved. I think there is a short coming, but I think that maybe we'll have a bit more of an indication, possibly picking up things like the FTSE at the highs may well be of a benefit. Picking up gold at the lows, the euro I like for long as well, but picking that up at the lows maybe the wisest thing to do. Tomorrow's key. Those numbers tomorrow it's getting more and more pivotal. Particularly those unemployment numbers.
Yep, completely. All right, so just updating Aussie CAD, I will take more profit. I'll bank more profit at DR2, which is just below that level there. So 95.50, say. I'll take more off the table and move my stops. No, I won't. I'll keep my stops where they are for today because we've moved them into profit, right? That's now at, can't remember, whatever that level is. $92.53. Stops are now at $92.53. Bank another half of the risk at DR2 and leave the stops where they are. That's Aussie CAD. CAD Swiss, I have explained to you guys, there is a short order underneath the monthly pivot, and that is only to catch monthly to weekly pivot as a hedge against the long that is currently in drawdown. That is pretty much it. Euro on the 30. Keep your eyes on that as well. We should have a special Zoom session on NFP Day. Lewis, we actually spoke about that. We won't do it this NFP Day, but yeah, let's keep that on the drawing board because it is probably worth looking at times. This may be one of those times, but I'm not available tomorrow.
Yeah, well, we'd have to update the Zoom, so we'd have to talk to James, but before we can't do that within 24 hours, unfortunately. But I think you're right. I think we should have an NFP special, or if there's some sort of special event, Jeff and I can pop in for a little while, and maybe Lloyd can join us as well. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, we'll have a chat about it and see if that can happen maybe next time round. But for now, let's wrap it up. call it for the week. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for all the good work as well, Lloyd. As always, I'll have a chat to you at some point, mates, and Jeff as well, just to sort of see if we can keep the team together in some respects. You know, not necessarily where every day, but in some respects, if we can keep the team together, that'd be amazing. Thank you to you, John, as always, mate, for the quiz. Have a great week, buddy, and great to see you back, Jeff. I will speak to you anon. If not before the weekends, then I'll see you next week. But I reckon we'll probably need to have a little bit of a chat and see if we can somehow headlock Lloyd for having some sort of participation.
All right, mates. Everything that Ash has said, 100%. It's great to be back. Good to see you guys. And thank you all for the well wishes back. Lloyd, again, thank you. Can't thank you enough. And see you next week, guys. Have a great one. Thank you, Anita, for looking after us as well for the last couple of days. You guys have fun over the weekend. Bye-bye for now.